Hello again, and I'm going to change things around a little bit this week. In the style of the video I'm going to make, give, record, whatever you do with a video. I like to shuffle things around a bit. So what's going to be different? Well, I recently did a PM versus CM session for a project management company in Norway, which resulted in quite a few questions at the end, as you will appreciate during the Q&A session. What I've done is I've actually chosen out of all of them 5, and I'll give you some quick fire answers to those questions instead of one long drawn out answer to one single question. I did actually answer these during the session, but I think these answers go a little bit further and actually also maybe a little bit different because I've had a little bit of time to think about the questions since then, even when I was sort of, putting down my thoughts, etc. So again, apologies, no mention of names of people, okay, because of GDPR. I still haven't got a clue how that works, but never mind, eh? All right, number 1. Do you recommend having the same person as a change manager in pre-go live and post-go live? All right. Number 2, are you describing how project managers should be or how they usually are? I'm assuming when they say that it was how I describe project managers during my PM versus CM session. Okay. Why do you think CM has been in a public eye for so long, but its adoption is low? Well, I kind of say I don't think it's low, but I think, yes, we could be better, and we are getting better since the pandemic. Okay. Do you think that change management is or should be a customer obligation generally? In the case of a project owner not establishing any change management, should a PM take the responsibility of initiating a CM or even act as both the PM and the CM? 5 interesting questions there, all right? So let's get going with the first one, shall we? Do you recommend having the same person as a change manager in pre-go live and post-go live? Perfectly logical question. In normal circumstances, I would say yes, right? But kind of thinking it through logically, there might well be occasions when they might be 2 different people. Let me try and give you an example to sort of explain. When I worked on the contract market, it was usual that I was taken on because there was no one else in the business with the suitable experience or knowledge to do the job. On those occasions, I would always ask, could I have someone from internally to work with me so I can transfer my knowledge to them and they could then take up that role after my contract ends or finishes? Then, of course, if you have worked with a team of change agents, they can also take on that responsibility, but it would obviously be as a team rather than an individual, or maybe even one of the team that was maybe a standout performer during their change agent obligations, etc. The choice would obviously be in the best interests of the business. The key for me, I would say, is continuity. And if that can be achieved by either the same person or a different person who has the necessary knowledge and skill set, then the decision, obviously, is yours. Yeah. I'm going to use one of my favorite sayings, as I've used plenty of times before during these videos. Horses for courses. It all depends on the project. It all depends on the individual. It all depends on the sponsor. Okay. First question done. What's the next question? Are you describing how project managers should be or how they usually are? I guess it's a bit of both, I think. But to be honest, based on my experience working with project managers, and also from feedback from my PMI chapter sessions, my leaning would be to how they usually are. On one of my presentations, on one of my presentation slides, it says from a blog in 2019 by Suzanne Madston, who is a project leadership coach called "What are the 3 biggest mistakes that project managers make?" She says mistake number 1 is managing tasks and events at the expense of leading people. The most common mistake project managers make is that they are more concerned with tasks and events than with people and the human impact of change, sometimes unknowingly. Project managers have a rational, logical and analytical way of thinking. Us change managers, we don't. We're a bit weird. On another slide in the same presentation, it says, since the role of the project manager has expanded significantly, most do not have the capacity or capability to learn change management. Yeah, okay, that's a kind of a contentious statement, but if you look at PM Box 7, Guide 7, and the new PMI Talent Triangle, you will see what I mean. Project managers now have their work cut out, and to be honest, it can do without the additional hassle of all that change management stuff, all that communication and all that stakeholder engagement and stuff like that. Okay. The next question: why do you think CM has been in the public eye for so long, but its adoption is low? As I said, it's not low; it can be generally better, though. I kind of think there's probably a few reasons for this. The first reason is the power brokers, the boys at the top, or the boys and girls at the top, and budget holders, the people who hold the money, do not or cannot see the value of change management, mainly because they don't know enough about it, and as a consequence don't want to spend money on it. Some that do know a little bit still see change management as softy, squidgy stuff and intangible. I don't know what you actually deliver. Hitting milestones and going live via a hard project plan rather than based on, say, are the business ready for go live, is what they want. Hard stuff, planning. And then some actually don't see the value. Yes, this is absolutely right. Some don't see the value of managing people through change and still think it is a technical aspect, delivering a solution that is important, rather than the adoption and usage of that solution. They think people will just naturally go along with things as they happen. Very frustrating being a change manager, I can tell you. I think those are the main reasons. If you want to take a listen to video 08 on here, it actually answers the question how to convince companies to focus on both project management and change management as well. It's my most popular video, would you believe? That's about 350 odd views, right? Radio. Next question is, do you think that change management is or should be a customer obligation? On one hand, I would say yes it is, because they will know the business, okay, and the stakeholders in it, but that can either be a bad thing depending on who the person is that has been assigned to the role. As an example, they may just be too close to the stakeholders, which might be problematic when dealing with resistance. They can also be lacking in change management skills. On the other hand, again, in my experience of being on the contract market, my expertise has been brought in, because of the lack of that expertise internally. In addition, someone unknown to the business may just be able to manage the stakeholders in a broader, non-specific, at a more arm's length manner, and not get embroiled in any kind of preferential treatment or even internal politics, if you like. In a situation where a company has been brought in to deliver a project, I think it's incumbent on them, if there is a big impact on people, to suggest to the client that they need change management expertise. If they don't have it, they can do one of two things. I mentioned above, either they can appoint from within or buy it in. Hey, bit of poetry there. Get it from within or buy it in. Wordsworth? Again, can I just strongly suggest that you actually listen to video 08, which I mentioned earlier on. And the final question is from, I nearly mentioned a name then. Ooh, naughty boy. In the case of a project owner not establishing any change management, should a PM take the responsibility of initiating a CM, or even acting both as a PM and CM? That's kind of the killer question, isn't it, really? Yes, yes, and yes again. Seriously, if the project owner has not seen fit to include change management in their team, and the project manager, can see a definite need for it, then the project manager needs to raise it as a risk. But at the same time, also do everything they can to persuade the project owner to change their mind. If they're not prepared to sanction a change manager, then the project manager will need to keep it on the risk register and take on as many of the tasks of a change manager that they can fit into their schedule. If they don't have the skills or competencies to do so, then I would suggest that they get themselves through whatever means an understanding of what change management is, whether that be self-taught, research, or externally delivered training. Remember that the roles and responsibilities of both disciplines are different, and priorities will need to be placed on the most important from a project management and a change management perspective. Okay. Finito again. Thanks for listening. I'm already working on the next video. It's going to be an interesting one because it's a completely new subject to me, and I've spoken to a few PMs since then, and they said, what's that? All I'm going to say, it's a little teaser, is blockchain. Okay? Thanks for listening. See you again next time.